Good morning, students. Myself Prajapati, and I welcome you all into our virtual class. Students, chapter The Footprints Without Feet. Interesting chapter is going on. Griffin, the scientist, was very brilliant but not honest and a good man. He was actually a criminal and doing crime again and again. And here, what is doing? Let's see. These questions and homework you have to do. Let's see. Why does Mrs. Hall find the scientist eccentric, and what curious episode occurs in the study, right? And what other extraordinary things happened at the end. So we'll see that if you get two questions answered, then you have to these two only. If you get third one, then this will be also, right? Let's see. So far what happened, that how Griffin was actually in the London, and there he was doing so many things, and he did so many things. He attacked over there in the mall on those people, and he stole money, right? But now finally he thought that it is not easy to live in that crowded area, so he decided to leave that place. And now what he did to leave that place, eager to get away, listen, eager to get away from crowded London, he took a train to the village of Epping, right? He wanted to actually leave that crowded place because now it was not easy to be there. Okay, so he took a train to the village of Epping. Epping is the village name here, right? Where he booked two rooms at the hotel, at the local inn. Inn is the hotel, right? The arrival of the stranger at an inn in winter was, in any case, an unusual event as he reached over there. Like in the winter season, especially, so this was not actually common. Unusual event because in winter, people not used to go there, but he went there, so that was the unusual event for those people because when they spotted the man that who had gone there in the winter season, especially, yes, that was not common. A stranger of such uncommon appearance set all tongues wagging. Yes, all tongues wagging. That means all people were talking about the man, that how he was looking uncommon appearance. Uncommon appearance, that he bandaged his forehead, and how his mustache and the bushy whiskers he applied on his face. So everything like that is. And Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife, made every effort to be friendly. Yes, she wanted to be friendly with him. She wanted to be actually not wants the friendship, but actually she wanted to know everything about him, about his information, that from where he had come there, who he was like. In that way, in the sense, she wanted to be friendly. But Griffin had no desire to talk, but he didn't want to talk and told her, my reason for coming to Epping is a desire for solitude, that means isolation. He wanted to be alone. That's why he went over there. He gave only this one reason to Mrs. Hall, and I do not wish to be disturbed in my walk. And this is the warning he gave to the lady, that he didn't want to get disturbed. And besides, an accident has affected my face. And besides, along with, he said one more thing to the lady, that due to an accident, he was affected on his face, right? That's why the bandages were tied on his forehead. Satisfied that her guest was an eccentric scientist, now Mrs. Hall, she was satisfied. Why? Because she consoled herself that okay, it's okay. He was an eccentric scientist, eccentric like mad, crazy, sunky, and in the view of the fact that he had paid her in advance. And one more thing, she considered that actually she received money from him as an advance, so she allowed him to be there. Okay, Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habits and irritable temper, and Mrs. Hall was prepared. She actually prepared herself to give him excuse that his strange habits and irritable temper, even after looking though that kind of habit, or this is irritable temper, but she gave him excuse that he could live over there. But the stolen money did not last long, and presently Griffin had to admit that he had no money. He had no more ready cash. Now what happened? But the stolen money, the money which he had stolen from that store, did not last long. It was not enough for a long time, and presently Griffin had to admit, and at that time Griffin, admitted to the lady that he had no more ready cash, that he had no money at that time, and he pretended, it shows that he gave an excuse to the lady that he would he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment, and then he would give her money, right? So shortly afterwards, a curious episode occurred, and now, just not after a long time, but just after that, one curious episode, one excited, one interesting episode actually occurred and happened over there. What happened? Very early in the morning, a clergyman, as a priest, clergyman is a priest, and his wife were awakened by noises in the study when they were actually in that room, and they actually awakened due to those noises. Creeping downstairs, they came downstairs and they heard the chink of money, the chink, the sound of that coins, that money being taken from the clergyman's desk. From the desk, that money, those coins were taken, and that sound was coming, right? And they went downstairs to check what was happening without making any noise, and with the poker grasped firmly. Poker, like, one kind of tool used to be at home. So they took that poker and hold into their hands firmly, tightly, and opened, in his hand, and clergyman flung open the door, and they flung open, just, in a sudden shock, or in a sudden strike, they opened the door and they called surrender, like, because they thought that somebody could be in that room. But what happened later? Then, to his amazement, he realized that the room appeared to be empty. Now, what they got to know, that as they opened the door and they called, shouted as surrender, but to their amazement, to their excitement, they got to know, they felt that in that room nobody was there. The room was completely empty, and he and his wife looked under the desk and behind the curtains and even up the chimney. Everywhere they were finding that who was there, but no, no, not to the chimney, not behind the curtains, and not under the desk. Nobody was there. There wasn't a sign of anybody, yet the desk had been opened. Yes, but the desk was open, and the housekeeping money was missing. That housekeeping money, which was placed into that desk, into the drawer, that money was missing, stolen. Extraordinary affair, the clergyman kept saying for the rest of the day. Clergyman, yes, on that day he was talking to the people. He was just discussing the matter to those people, that one extraordinary affair, one extraordinary matter happened with them on that day. Yes, that was the incident, that how their money was stolen, but nobody was there inside the room, right? But it was not as extraordinary as the behavior of Mrs. Hall's furniture a little later that morning. But one more thing happened on that day that was more extraordinary. Yes, what extraordinary? That the behavior of Mrs. Hall's furniture, actually at Mrs. Hall's home, or the inside the room, something happened to her furniture that was not practical or normal, and that was more extraordinary than the previous incident. So what happened, next? We'll see, next time. That's all for the day, students. These questions, I think these two questions answers you got now. So you have to solve these two questions in today's homework, right? And the third one, we'll get the answer in our next class, and you will solve these questions into our next class homework. Okay? So these only two questions for the day, right? And that's all for the day. I hope you understood the chapter very well. Next part we'll continue into our next class. Until then, thank you so much. Bye bye.